Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Today on Cookiecast, it's another movie cast. Myself, Sam Muscroft, JK, and James Panas sat down to watch the movie Pain and Gain, which, as you'll find out in the podcast, is one of my favourite movies. Take from that what you will. We watched it, and then, as we like to do, we sat down and had a conversation about it. So see what we all thought, what review we gave, what score we gave. So this is Cookiecast Moviecast, Pain and Gain. Alright, give it one. It's podcast time, let's do this! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for another wonderful instalment of Moviecast.
Yes.
Should we take the register?
Yeah, do it.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Panasonic's here.
JK.
JK to the max. Muff chops.
Muff chops.
I feel like I sort of drew the short straw on the cool nicknames.
Muff chops.
I think Muff Chops is very good.
Muff chops makes me laugh.
Shout out to Tom Quinn.
It wasn't Mr. Quinn who came up with it. I'm not sure I've told you this story on the podcast, but the reason I got called Muff Chops was because when I used to go on the phones, I spoke to an old woman and she thought that was what my name was.
So some old lady gave you that name.
And that was that. I think it was
named by an old woman.
Yep.
Sam Muff Chops.
Sam Muff Chops.
So
She must have been amused.
Sure she was. She's about 1,000 years old, so she's probably dead now.
Probably. But her legacy lingers on.
It's got dark real fast. Does anybody whose film choice was this? Does this count as Sam's film choice?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't say. Is it?
I'll take it as mine.
It's
I
gotta be
pushed for it.
James's.
I pushed for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Someone else is going to have to say the other one though at some
But
stage.
you wanted the other one.
I know. But I wanted this one too.
I'm
I'm sure we'll get
This
two
is not
choices.
something that-
Can't we
having never
can't we
seen
put
it.
it down as Paul's film choice, even though it's not here?
No.
When was the last time Paul was there for a film?
Well, that's why we could choose for him. It's like by default.
Yeah.
So his film choice was what we just watched.
So James, would you like to tell us what we watched this evening?
We just watched Pain and Gain. Brilliant film.
Pain and Gain. Michael Bay's
2013
Pain and Gain. Now I would like to point out this
action comedy, I suppose.
Yeah. I was very happy to hear that we were going to watch this film because it is actually currently my favourite movie. I love it.
That's a really big jump on it.
But such a fairly recent film.
I feel like I should point out as well that I did not go into this with high expectations because
You did not?
someone said it's got The Rock, Mark Wahlberg, and it was directed by Michael Bay, and my heart sank.
Right, but was The Rock not fantastic in that film?
The Rock's great in nearly everything. In fairness to the bloke, like I said, he's not the greatest actor in the world, but he can pull off any role because he's just got so much screen presence. You can't help but.
Yeah, he's
I think he's great in that. I remember
he's
watching
fantastic
that
in it.
and texting a mate of mine going, "I've just watched Pain Again. Who knew The Rock could actually act?" Because I think he's brilliant in it,
I think all of them were pretty great in it.
Yeah, everyone was good.
and he's absolutely fucking massive in it as well.
Yeah,
That's me
He's
like
huge. Yeah,
little legs.
with little leg things. I don't know what those are like.
But yeah, I would not call that sort of your typical Michael Bay movie. I think it's like
Michael Bay.
To be honest, until you started saying it earlier when we decided to watch it, I had no idea it was Michael Bay, and I've watched that film. I must have watched it
It
like
doesn't
20
feel
times.
like Michael Bay at all. Like
I
compared
agree
to
with
his like.
So I said to
agree,
you,
it doesn't
when we
feel
were
like
in the
a
pub
Michael Bay
earlier,
film.
I said to you, there are two scenes in that film that you then go, oh, it is Michael Bay. So the camera spinning round, which they did in Bad Boys 2, where the camera just continues on one continuous 360 loop through walls.
Yeah.
They did it in Bad Boys 2 and they do it in Pain and Gain. I think they actually do it twice.
Purple Lamborghini as well.
Obviously, there is one explosion, which is essentially what you're talking about.
Yeah, you've got the walking away from it. But I would say that was almost taking the piss.
It was, because the rock's there like that. When it blows up, he's like walking away, and you know.
And then you see the bloke fall out the car in the background.
So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't feel like Michael Bay. There's no robots in it. There's not an explosion every 8 seconds.
I mean, I was saying before, I don't know how much of it Michael Bay is like, he deserves the hate he gets, because he didn't write it, but nor did he write the Transformers films either. I don't know whether he directed it, whether he wrote it.
I should just go on record here. I don't hate Michael Bay, and I don't hate the Transformers films.
No, I don't hate Michael Bay either. I don't have issues with Michael Bay movies.
The Transformers films are really fucking shit. But how much of that is down to the terrible? You know, you're still working with a screenplay.
Yeah.
And I've said we were on the Bad Boys review that he's not a bad director. He knows how to frame.
Yeah, he does some good shots. Even in that, there was some good shots.
Bad Boys is that's a great looking film.
Yeah.
So I think you were actually in the toilet. I was saying to these guys, there's a scene in that where The Rock runs into a hairdresser's, and I was saying that every time I see it, I think it's a tip of the hat to Bad Boys, and then I was like, I actually think it might be the same hairdressers.
Yeah, I think it's the same place. It looks like the same
It might be
place.
interesting to look through, yeah.
So it might be worth sort of...
Because it's set in literally the same year that Bad Boys is shot and set, presumably.
Yeah, I suppose it is. It would be 1995.
95, yeah. So.
But it does feel like a little tip of the hat.
Little nod. Yeah, that. It does look very similar.
I mean, he just loves Miami by the looks of things.
Yeah.
He does that cool orange.
The sun coming.
Yeah, the orange views as well. That's one of the things I really like about Bad Boys.
You can find out he's involved in GTA Vice City as well.
Yeah, could well be. Michael Bay actually directed GTA Vice City, the game, which was a cool game actually.
Yeah,
it was a great game.
That's not for now.
No.
But yeah, I mean, he gets a lot. Michael Bay does get a lot of hate.
He does get
but how much of it is him? Like if he's not writing it, he is just directing it. Yeah, that's a lot of power, no doubt.
True, but yeah, it's true. He has to look at the screenplay and kind of abide to there are certain rules in that he's got to follow. And if it says explosion here, robot there.
But because that's what he cut his teeth on, I suppose that's the sort of film you would give him.
Yeah.
And even then, Bad Boys is like, well, I don't think it's the best film in the world. It's like it's not full of explosions every 5 seconds either.
No.
It's got a lead in.
And at the end.
There's some, because I really like Pain and Gain, so there's lots of little things that I know about. I was saying the Victor Kershaw character, he was actually arrested after the trial and stuff because he was a criminal. He made his money through criminal means. But I've seen like a making of a Pain and Gain, and The Rock like talking about how Mark Wahlberg and Anthony Mackie, like when they were trying to get big and stuff, their essential sort of day-to-day stuff was work out loads, have loads of protein, like protein shakes and protein bars, and he's like, and then they have to have their growth naps. Kind of an afternoon, they'd have to have these like little naps because they would be up at like 4 or 5 in the morning just working out and like taking like shed loads of protein and then working out and then filming scenes and stuff, and then they'd have to have growth naps. And they just like it showed scenes of like they'd have like shelves of like the huge protein stuff because they were just throwing protein down them and working out.
I mean, you can tell that they've obviously put on weight for it because like
Mark Wahlberg's big in it.
Whereas The Rock it's like lean muscle in it. They're just bulked.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg's really big in that, and
but he is fairly big.
He
a lot of the time anyway.
Mark Wahlberg. I've seen an interview with Mark Wahlberg, and he talked about his like daily routine, and his daily routine is like that of like The Rock. He gets up at 4 in the morning. He goes to the gym. He works out for a ridiculous number of hours. He's playing golf by 9. He's then off to a business meeting, and then he's doing whatever, and then he's doing this, that, and the other. And he goes to bed at some ridiculous time at night, like 6 o'clock in the evening. He's off to bed or something because he's got to be up like, and that's like every day.
Not compatible with a 9 to 5 then.
and he's been doing it for years. So when he went to do that, it wasn't a massive change for him.
Strange.
I remember watching an episode. This is really offbeat now, but watching. You know the guy who used to run the garage on Pimp My Ride.
Yeah.
Ryan something I think he's called. He had that West Coast Customs program where he there was an episode where he was doing it from Mount Wahlberg, and that was because he had no time, so he built his little office in a truck. Yeah.
I watched the West Coast Customs thing when I was recovering from my time in hospital, and I watched the whole series, and it was like I was just watching really. But yeah, I remember the Mark Wahlberg one, and because he's notorious for being one of the hardest workers in Hollywood and stuff. And that happens when you go, I get up at 4 every day.
It's quite
Just what you're used to, though, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I mean, if you do it all the time, then it becomes a habit, doesn't it?
Mm.
I go to bed at 4 every day, look at that.
So
Certainly on a Tuesday and
Not
Thursday.
every day, just on the weekends.
and Mondays, or Tuesdays as well. On a Wednesday, Thursday I don't.
I'd forgotten how funny that film was.
I
I knew it was funny, but that was
It's
very
people
funny.
I would call it almost a straight comedy,
It's
really.
a full-blown
Yeah,
comedy
almost.
film.
Yeah.
Which is not what I was expecting at all.
But
I was expecting sort of a dark-ish comedy.
But
if
it
you
is
know
a
what I mean.
dark comedy.
It's
but
quite
at the
dark,
same
yeah,
time-
there's some
But you know what I mean? I
moments in
expected
it.
the comedy to be in a sort of almost background element, to be a part of the film rather than just pretty much a full-blown. Not necessarily
Because I think the story itself is dark, but it's slapstick at times.
It's just like the thing where he's dressed as the ninja and the guy in the green.
He's got the alien hat.
The alien outfit. Yeah, it was interesting. And as it kept reminding us that it's supposed to be a true story.
Based on a true story.
Which is,
Sam's not buying that.
I
Fully,
believe that it was
yeah.
based on a true story. I believe they maybe took quite a lot of liberties to make a more entertaining film,
Yeah.
which is fine.
And as I kept saying, whilst we were watching it and before we watched it, they got into a lot of trouble trying to release that film because people believed that they were trying to glamorise the criminal world. Criminals and making
That seems
them
so
fun
bizarre
and
to
stuff.
me because America's been releasing films glamorising criminals
Criminals
for
for ages.
But the
For like,
thing-
the Godfather trilogy.
They're
and
comeback.
Taxi Driver,
Taxi
any number of
Driver.
things.
I remember those things.
The way
making
they
it
fought
cool.
that argument was to say they're not criminals, they're fucking idiots. And then it was like, alright, that's fine.
Yeah.
Let's face it, there was no glamorising in that film whatsoever.
Yeah, because they do look like 3 dickheads.
Yeah, they're not shown in anything other than the worst possible light.
Yeah, they make them look like 3 dickheads. Which they
And fair play to all 3 actors, they totally sold it.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, if you think Anthony Mackie, you think
Falcon.
That's what I think of him in.
It's
That's
kind of
it,
to be honest.
It's kind of a
name
shame
out-
how...
something else.
It's kind of a shame how little he gets because like Falcon's a boring. Can you remember? I forgot he's in films. It's like the boringest character in the world. And he's obviously got a bit more range.
To be honest,
it's
when
kind
I
of a
saw him
shame.
as Falcon, I think of him as the dude from Pain and Gain.
I'm very good.
So
The thing
that's
that
why I
amuses
thought-
me, right at the beginning of Pain and Gain, because he's obviously struggling to get big and he's doing
He's
the
on
stuff and
the
all
something
that.
juice, isn't he? Muscle
Muscle juice and all that. There's the shot of him on a podium with 2 massive guys either side, and he's obviously like first.
Yeah, no, I saw that. And I thought that was kind of weird.
Even in the film of bodybuilders, he's not the biggest guy
No,
in
he's
it,
not, no.
and he's got those 2 massive guys either side. But he's obviously like one.
Yeah.
Using his roids.
In the early part of that film, he gets all the best lines. I think just like when they're in that club and they're trying to like recruit
breast-
the
the breast
Ukrainians.
We
Yeah.
can be,
breast
we can be
girl,
titty brothers.
There's so many great bits though. I mean, it's kind of there's loads of really memorable bits in it.
Like when he first meets the Rock, it's like, so many grams of protein.
Oh, he got the protein. Do you take amino acids before
Or after you work out?
No, it's really funny.
Yeah, it was entertaining. Definitely good. Yeah.
And then he gets some good lines. Well, he's in the good scenes when he meets Rebel Wilson later as well. When she's like on about the
Because she's good in it.
yeah.
But yeah, she's generally entertaining and stuff. I don't mind her. I don't mind her Wilson. I think she's quite good.
Yeah,
She was good in that, certainly.
Yeah, she was good in that. That one there was a hole.
I think she can be a bit obnoxious given too much free reign, but she worked perfectly fine for that role.
Yeah.
Good with nunchucks.
Good with nunchucks, yeah.
Yeah, so who was it that was saying that she actually learned the nunchuck stuff?
Yeah, she was doing it on a chat show. I seen it on a chat show, and they were like,
Didn't say it
"Can
was
you really
Jonathan
do
Ross
it?"
or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that?
it was Jonathan Ross or something like that. And yeah, she's like, she gets up in front of everyone, and she's like, just
Wow, that's dedication.
doing it. Yeah,
Swings
yeah,
and nunchucks.
So well, yeah, it was done for us. No, it was pretty good. All very good.
Wow.
Nice work.
So what would your rating be then?
I was just going to say, like,
Me?
Oh,
I would give it a solid. I would give it a good 4 out of 5. I think that's a fair. It's a really good film.
I get that.
do you know? Before we started, as I already said to you, Sam will just say it's very average.
so we had it
It's
down.
3.
We had it down as 3 out of 5. My Sam review was 3 out of 5. I've forgotten it already.
But there's nothing forgettable about that film. That's completely unfair because it's saying like, yeah, okay, Michael Bay stuff, but a lot of it's really forgettable.
4 out of 5 then. I'm
4
pleased.
out of 5. Let me ask you this: what is a 5 out of 5 film?
A 5 out of 5 film to me is something that is, genuinely like incredible, like a film that I would want to watch like a load of time. And
The Incredibles.
The Incredibles probably is a 5 out of 5 film, believe it or not.
I haven't seen it, by the way.
And while that film was, really, really good, I don't think it's perfect. I do think it's possibly a bit too long.
Watching it that time, there's some glaring continuity errors.
I think there's in general, as pacing wise, it starts to sag a bit in the middle as well.
That was something I noticed. It does sag it ever so slightly. It does take its foot off the gas.
Definitely. Once the first part is over, the first section, because it feels almost like there are 2 very distinct sections to that film.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it definitely sags a bit in the middle.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, if you had to name a 5 out of 5 film,
He's already said
Off the
one.
top of your head.
The Incredibles.
Yeah, as in my favourite film, something like Aliens would be a 5 out of 5 film.
I've not seen that either.
do you say you haven't seen Aliens?
This is not news.
Did you just say that? Oh, because you don't like Sigourney Weaver.
Correct.
So that would definitely detract from Aliens.
Yeah, and also, I'm a massive girl about anything scary. So.
Aliens is an action film, though.
Aliens, it's definitely.
Yeah.
I've always had it in my head that it's a horror
Aliens is
film.
5 out of 5 film as well.
Is it not a
Yeah,
horror
it's a
film?
good film.
So, Alien, horror movie. Aliens, action film.
Alright, sorry, I thought we were talking about the I ain't seen none of them. Just
Alien 4, we'd best not talk
Alien
about.
Resurrection's a big part of it, yeah.
Well, I haven't watched any of them.
Great
then,
cast,
let's just say so.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Anytime anybody ever says anything to me about Aliens 4, my answer is, got a great cast.
Who's in
Yeah,
it?
that's okay.
Ron Perlman,
Okay.
Sigourney
good.
Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver.
Not so much.
The bad guy from The Crow.
The bad guy from The Crow, I don't know the name of, but all I ever tell people is that guy with a really crappy voice.
Yeah, the bad guy from The Crow.
Not seen it, so I don't know what you're talking about. Is that it? So it's Ron Perlman.
Sigourney Weaver.
There's a guy in Alien Resurrection who was in CSI, the original CSI.
Can we agree to never watch Alien Resurrection? I mean, on movie night, but ever. I mean, as a collective.
Well, I'm down for not
It's
watching
like-
it.
Rubbish.
No, I'm going to watch it.
Are you going to watch it right now?
I'm going
Like a
Just
pact.
to ring you
I
up.
feel that's a fair pack actually.
Sam, guess what I'm watching?
Okay, so give my rating 4 out of 5.
So James, you also had not.
I hadn't seen Pain Again.
I'm surprised. I thought it was one you would have already seen.
Yeah, it is normally in my repertoire. I just never really got around to it. I would also give it 4 out of 5. It doesn't quite warrant a 5 because it was a little slow for me in
That's
places.
what I mean. It's
I liked
pacing
it.
issues.
That it was entertaining, definitely, but there were some slow areas in it, and it wasn't. I don't know, it didn't flow quite as well as I
think it's got a
expected.
really, really strong start to it. And then it gets to that sagging middle and it's got
Yeah,
like,
it's
a really good
it's
end.
true, yeah, it's
end
weird.
as
So,
well.
like the second, I know it's obviously part of the story, but like the whole second job, I thought was a bit.
Yeah.
It was a bit shit. It kind
In
of went off.
all
on one.
honesty, it feels like that
for a
part
bit.
could have almost been. I mean, I appreciate it's a true story, I've got to follow that sort of stuff, but it feels
Yeah,
like from
yeah.
a film perspective, that part of it could have been excised and possibly
Really
been an
cut
extension
down.
of the original.
Yeah.
The original
So
job.
that's what kind of put me off that part. It was a bit slow in places, but it was fun.
That bit that you're alluding to, that kind of section, the bit that bothers me is that they all run out of money really quick.
Yeah, there's not
I
really
just feel a little bit.
Especially
there's
when
not
Wahlberg's
really a-
supposed to be
there's
in a
not
$3
really
million
there's
house.
not really a timeline either.
But he doesn't run out of money. So much.
Right, okay.
There's
So
no
I
real
remember,
mention.
I
that he
remember
runs
thinking
out
of
of
that,
money.
yeah, but he's trying to like get on the run because he knows he's.
So Anthony
you know,
Mackie's character's put all of his money into buying a house. Because I think.
And The Rock has snorted all
that
his
was
money.
only $100K.
I think cash. They only had $150,000.
I thought it was 500.
Yeah, but it was split. It was
between three.
it was
Yeah.
500
But
quid and
but you
it was
think
500k
how
and
has
it was
he
split
managed- How
between
has he
them.
managed to get the house and they've just got their share of the cash though? That always.
So he buys the house. He buys a house for $100,000 in cash.
Anthony
leaving
Mackie?
leaving him $50,000.
Yeah.
You buy a house, you're gonna have to kit that house out. He had the big wedding.
No, I get that. What I don't get is how they split $500,000 cash 3 ways, but Wahlberg gets a $3 million house and all the
Because
cars on top.
it was his job, wasn't it? He gets the lion's share. But yeah, The Rock.
There's no timeline in it.
Yeah.
So you kind of roughly guess the timeline by looking at how Victor heals.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm assuming that the timeline is actually very short.
It's really hard to
It
tell.
must be only a couple of months because he's in the hospital. Isn't he? Then he's in the motel.
From start to
but
finish,
he's-
it's 6 months. It's dated.
Yeah, there is a
It is,
timeline.
yeah.
So they give you a date at the beginning, and then when he's kidnapped, they give you a date.
There's also a 6 months earlier thing.
Yeah, but there's a 1995 period because it starts in 94.
Yeah.
Then the next
November
when you see him in the
94 is when they
house,
kidnap him.
it's 95. But
Yeah.
Victor's still pretty fucked up at that stage.
It's 6 months between the start of the film when he's doing his sit-ups, and then it
When
goes
they get
6 months
arrested.
back to him doing a runner. So the only bit that's beyond 6 months is the whole Bahamas bit and the trial.
Yeah, it just seems very. So basically, then in 6 months,
Yeah.
they do all that. Bearing in mind that they kidnap
And burn
Victor
through
for
all
3
the money.
weeks and then burn through all the money in
That
6 months.
perhaps it does make sense, but you're right. From like a first watch perspective, it comes off as a bit abrupt.
Yeah. So anyway, so it gets a good solid 4. I think 4 is fair.
I've got to give it 5. I've watched it so many times. I think it's great. I think it's a film that there's not much that I wouldn't watch and enjoy with Wahlberg in it.
Yeah, you're a bit of a Wahlberg fanboy, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Are you going to watch the new one, the
22 Mile?
Yeah, we were
chatting about that earlier.
It looks like I'm interested because it's got the guy from The Raid in,
Yeah.
and I really like both Raid films. I generally watch anything that's got Mark Wahlberg. I don't gravitate towards it, but I don't run away from it. You know, it's not a Tom Cruise film. I'm not running down.
It looks a bit like Jack Ryan, kind of.
But it
thing.
looks like it almost looks like different things like smashed together to make a film. Like there's the guy from The Raid seems to be in prison. Or
I think he's the bad guy.
With the slogan on it, it was like, was it option 1 something, option
1
2
is
military,
diplomacy, option 2 is military, option
this is
3
option
is
3.
this guy.
I don't know why, I immediately just thought, is this like a John Wick type affair?
Or Bourne, or Jack
Yeah.
Ryan.
It definitely seemed to get that kind of vibe from it, looking at the.
Ryan or Reacher?
No, Jack, is it Jack
There's
Ryan?
well,
It's
there's Jack
Tom Clancy,
Reacher.
isn't it? It's Jack Ryan. Is that the, clear and present danger and all
Yeah,
that?
that's Jack Ryan.
Okay,
and
so
then
Jack
he did that
Ryan, yeah.
shallow recruit
Yeah,
thing.
so
didn't he,
that's
recently?
that's Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
So yeah, not Jack Reacher, Jack Ryan.
Andy,
It's
where would
like
you fall
a
on
bit
this?
shadow ops.
Your rating?
Pain and Gain.
I can guess what it is.
It's
That's
his
what it is.
favourite film, so
At this moment in time,
Maybe he thinks it might be a 4. He might just have like ridiculously high standards. Like he's waiting for that film to be the 5 out of
To be the
5.
five.
Yeah.
perfect film. I mean, you know, it's weird because part of me is a little bit like maybe I wouldn't give it a 5, but it's my favourite
But
film.
that's the thing, though. I can look at some of my favourite films and see that they're flawed, but it doesn't matter as much, if that makes sense.
I think
if I
I
dissect
agree.
them, I can see problems.
I'm
I
judging it
fully
on.
agree that there's a pacing issue with that film because it's like a big explosion of stuff at the beginning, and then it does drop off, and then it just pick up again towards the back end. But at the point that you've completely forgotten that it's based on a true story, it just flashes it up on the screen, and it makes me chuckle every time.
Yeah.
It's like, you know. This is still.
Is this the
You just disappointed that you had your toilet break at the
At
worst
that point in time?
The best, your favourite
Fucking
bit.
barbecue in the hands and the bit where it says
the barbecue in the hands?
The barbecue, we have to research whether that's true or not, because that's amazing. That's just great. That
He's
is.
waving to the woman over the road and barbecuing.
It was clearly a security guard of some description. She's wearing a cop uniform.
So is that the first unanimous film cast we've had, like, where everybody enjoyed it?
Oh, we all enjoyed it.
I think it might be.
Yeah, so it would be.
I think Ed would have enjoyed
I think Ed definitely.
So did you give it 4 or 5 in the end?
Paul would have if he could have kept his eyes open.
Yeah, I don't think Paul can really
Did
ever
you
give
give it
a
4 or
true
5?
review though,
You didn't
can
say.
he?
I don't know if I'm prepared to give a score on it.
You can go 4.5. Just we'll ignore Sam.
I might go
4.8.
9.5 out of 10 or something.
9.5. Oh, going for 19 out of 20 hours. I mean,
49 out of 50.
I never saw you as a dog fucker around.
we were talking about what we
So has he given you his explanation about if you use the incremental scale incorrectly, you are a dog?
Yeah, but we're on
All I'm asking is you
course.
keep your numbers as full integers. That's all I ask.
And I did. And
Right,
so
okay,
so
it's an 8. It's going to be an 8.7 out of 19. Let's put it that way.
what we were talking about someone.
I looked at you and I took 9.
How many days? We were talking about how many days someone at work works in the plus day, and I was like, he works 8 days out of 10, and so I was like, no, he works 4 days out of 5, and I was like, it's the same thing. He's like, well, yeah, but why would you say?
Why would you say
I don't know.
Was that person me by any chance?
No, it wasn't you. No.
It wasn't even.
Work is a very strong word.
I work 8 days. Yeah, it's a very strong word because I do a lot of strong work. I do my work. I do Sam's work.
I told you.
I delegate.
Sam hasn't got this one, but
And so you should.
we were in the pub yesterday. This is not it's on Moviecast. We were in the pub yesterday, weren't we? And we wanted to leave a little bit later to go back to work.
Yeah.
And him and Tony are giving it it's alright because Lee's with us. It'll be alright, we'll go back late. So I just turned around to it and went, Ed, they're talking about Lee, they're talking about you. And Ed actually turned around and just went, yeah, but I'm a non-working lead. Like, what exactly does that mean?
You said that to me earlier. I was like, I must come back to that because what the fuck is that?
Non-working lead. I turned around immediately to Tony and James and went, I don't know, maybe am I a non-working?
I didn't comment. I
So
refused to comment on such things.
So that is a successful movie cast.
Except you didn't rate it.
you gave it 5 out of 5.
Oh, it's 5 out of 5.
Okay, yeah, but
8.7 out of 19 or
It's 4.82 out of 5.
right, so it's 4 out of 5.
It's 5 out of 5. It's my favourite. I love
It's a
it.
5 out of 5, yeah.
When all of a sudden we were watching that and I'm like, where the fuck's this come from? And I'm like, I'm happy to watch it.
The thing is, just because the film's got flaws, you're just like,
Yeah.
I overlook them. It's worth still the.
Yeah.
I didn't realise you planned to watch something else.
No, I brought.
I thought this was always on the cards, to be honest. I mean, people have been talking. That's why I downloaded it.
Yeah,
That's why I bought the
brought it
Blu-ray.
up.
Not bought it on Blu-ray in anticipation.
So he was straight in half and watch this one. So, and then I was like, Andy will definitely be on board for that.
I only brought the other film because I realised leaving my house that
There'd been no talk
there'd been no actual discussion about what film we were watching.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if it ends up being your choice, I know what you were picking.
Yeah.
So
It is a shame that Ed couldn't see it. I think Ed would have really enjoyed it. So
maybe
Yeah.
seen it.
he might have.
So that's an average 4.5 out of 5.
It is in fact an average.
Oh, he's done.
Is that okay?
It's true, yeah, that is very true, yeah.
You don't. If you're using an average, you're not going to work with integers. That's insane.
Oh, I didn't know if
I
there's
suppose
a
you did.
rule where I have to then say all those scores add up to 9 out of 10.
Well, it'll be what 19 divided by 4 will be your average.
Yeah.
And all of us went, yeah, okay.
Tumbleweed flows by.
So that makes it currently
The winner.
the top.
So what are we
think it
on?
is.
We're the thing which, you
The
know,
thing we've
all
done-
the people with no taste rated lower than they should have done.
2, I think.
Bad Boys.
Yeah. And
This has been
This
the
is
only ones on the scoring
Mm.
mechanism.
Well, the thing was the most divisive. Bad Boys seemed to. I think it got okay reviews. I believe me, you, and Ed gave it. No, it was me and Ed. I think who was
2 3s, a 4, and 2 5s. I believe it was.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
But no one was like, "This is a horrible film." It's just an okay film.
So it's an average 4, and it still comes up better than the Thing, I think.
It does, yeah. It is
So-
another thing.
Moviecast's highest rated movie so far.
It's Pain again.
Pain and Gain.
And I should just point out that Michael Bay is holding 1 and 2.
Michael Bay.
In fact, we've watched 2 Michael Bay films in Moviecast.
So,
Transformers!
join us next time on Cookiecast for Transformers.
Oh,
God.
someone else's house. You can do that one.
He's such a bitch.
I could accept the first one. I mean, from a distance.
The first Transformers is a good film.
Yeah. I like 2.
And then it's downhill.
I like 2, and he hates 2.
The second one is like, you know, we were talking about like there's not many 1 out of 5 films. I genuinely would give Transformers 2 a 1 out of 5.
Which
It's
is
fucking
true.
terrible.
I just like the.
Which one?
Can they end up in the desert?
Yeah, they've got to respark him.
Right, yeah. So
The
they
third
go
one
to Egypt
also
then.
has a big desert scene.
Who?
Optimus. Isn't that the third? That's the second one, isn't it?
The second
Is
one.
the second one where they go to Egypt?
Yeah, they fly Optimus out, and then they have to get the spark from some tomb. Isn't that the
Yeah,
second
I'm
one?
pretty sure they go to Egypt.
And Megan Fox is running along with it
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the montage scene.
I remember. I think it's.
She's running at you with no bra.
Yeah, just running
Slow
out.
motion.
It's
Slow
about
music.
5 hours long, I think, as well.
And the final battle scene is like 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
They do all blur into one. But the second one, I think, is particularly. I remember being particularly shit.
What's the one with the Dinobots?
That's number 4.
Right.
There's
Yes.
one of the ones with Mark Wahlberg in was on episode.
So
one.
does Mark Wahlberg, doesn't he start in the 4?
4. He does 4
4
and
or
5.
5. I've not seen 5 yet.
Awful.
I've not seen 5 yet,
I
actually.
understand.
The thing is, you might be saying, Sam, why have you seen all 5 Transformers movies if they think they're terrible? And that's an excellent question, which I cannot answer.
Five is
I like the things I like
I haven't
transforming
seen
robots. I always think maybe this one, the
It
Transformers,
gives
will
you
be good.
physical pain watching Transformers 5.
I'm not sure if I've seen
Can we watch the
it.
1986 Transformers film on a movie cast? I'll do that.
Yes.
Because we were talking about the fact that they were going to re-release it at the cinema, and we were like, definitely going to go watch it at the cinema. Seen it about 800 times.
It's got a better cast.
Gonna watch it again.
Orson Welles. It's got Orson Welles as Unicron.
Wow.
And
I like the cast of the
what's his
new
face?
ones.
The Galvatron, Spock.
Spock.
And Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy.
He's gone now, isn't he?
He has, yeah.
Yeah, as is Orson Welles for quite a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, just after Transformers the movie. Is his last film.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
I like the cast of the new Transformers films. If I'm honest.
Sheila Buff. Megan Fox.
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't
I think it
Transform,
would.
did it? Because didn't both of them go crazy?
I don't know if she did.
He
She
definitely
just started putting as much plastic in her body as she could.
Who? Megan Fox had a massive falling out with Michael Bay.
Did she?
Mm.
Oh.
That's why she wasn't in the other
That
movies.
is the reason.
Yeah, that's true. And Sheila Buff, he did go nuts.
He went bonkers. Yeah.
Crazy. He wore a bag on his head to the Oscars, didn't he? Or something?
Something
He did
like.
put a bag on
He
his
was
head.
also in the Indiana Jones film that we don't talk about.
Which Indiana Jones one was in?
Crystal Skull.
Crystal Skull.
1, 2 or 3?
I see what you've done there.
It wasn't in neither of
The
them.
fridge episode.
I watched Temple of Doom the other day, actually.
Probably the worst of the original trilogy.
I would agree with that.
I like them all.
I think they're all great.
I don't know.
But the one I would watch least, I think, is Temple of Doom. I think the first one.
I love that like minecart
I would agree with
scene at the end. It's amazing.
I like Last Crusade.
Yeah.
I've always liked Last Crusade.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Sean Connery adds a big.
I think Temple of Doom in some ways is quite like it because it's so different to the
There's no one
first
who
one.
can say
It's quite an
Junior
interesting
in that
film.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But interesting doesn't always equate to most enjoyable. It's the one I return to the least.
Doesn't River Phoenix play young Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Mm.
River Bottom.
Then he
Yeah.
died.
I don't know what we're gonna do next on film like that. Yet to be decided.
I think it needs to
Well,
be.
at some point.
I want
someone's
Michael
gonna
Bay
have
to be top 3.
Have to pick a film.
I can we not have it? Okay, Michael Bay. It's just the Michael Bay cast.
So presumably, Sam, we're narrowing it, getting closer and closer to the point where you're going to have to pick a film for us to watch.
Yeah.
As long as it's by Michael Bay.
As long as it's Michael Bay. Oh God.
So it's
What else have we got on the making there then?
What else has Michael Bay done?
Yeah.
A lot of Transformers films.
Yeah, well,
Turtles.
Oh yeah, God. That
Oh,
was
that's Megan Fox as well.
That was-
Presumably there's explosions as well.
fucking shit.
I've not seen
Animated
that.
sequel.
I've not seen that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the sequel.
I forgot Michael Bay had done Tron. Yeah.
What else has he done?
He did that. He did that YouTube video of Titanic.
Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys 2?
There's YouTube version.
Presumably you
of
haven't seen
Titanic.
Bad Boys 2.
I've not seen Bad Boys 2.
Where
I don't
Titanic
think.
splits in half.
You might have seen a little bit of Bad Boys 2 because it is featured in Hot Fuzz quite a lot.
It's very cool.
I think it's one of those films I might have seen bits of over the years, but I don't think it's ever I've ever seen. I've definitely seen the first one, but
Because we were saying the other day about the Cornetto trilogy though. You've seen Hot Fuzz, haven't you?
I've seen them all. Yeah, Hot Fuzz
And that's
is great.
and there's a lot of
The
Bad Boys
Cornetto
2
trilogy.
There is, yeah.
One of my friends' favourite film is Hot Fuzz, so I saw it quite a bit.
Hot Fuzz is a terrible film.
What?
It's my it's probably the least favourite of those three.
Fuzz is great.
Awful.
What? I think you know, man.
Yeah.
It's fucking awful film. What?
No, it's a great film.
Awful. Shaun of the Dead. I haven't seen the other one.
Shaun of the Dead's for
The
me
last one
easily the
is
best
great.
one. That's
Shaun of
Ed's
the
favourite, would
yeah,
you believe?
Shaun of the Dead is good. Yeah, it's good.
Ed likes the World's End.
That will.
Yeah, I would say the first two are great. The last one is it's not horrible. It's worth a watch. I would say.
Yeah.
It's Edgar Wright, so you can't go too far wrong with him.
No.
He did Baby Driver last, maybe.
He did.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And now he's planning a sequel to it.
Minus Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey dies in bed.
Dear.
I'm sure they would have brought him back then.
Damn, son, they can't just spoilers.
Drop
Stripping
the
them
bed.
spoilers.
Fucking hell.
Massive spoiler
Gonna
alert.
just have to do something.
Don't they all die except for him?
Let's not spoil this film. for
It's
anybody to watch
Everybody
it.
dies.
They don't.
In everything.
The couple
So,
don't die.
spoiler alert, everyone, even though it's too late, spoiler alert.
And just bleep all this shit out.
Yeah.
Someone might want to watch Baby Driver, and they should.
Yeah.
Everybody should watch this great film.
Well, as I said, it's got Hocus
Anyone
Pocus
who
by
wants
Focus.
Anyone that wants
And,
to talk about them
Ray
should have
Allen
watched
Fire.
it.
I'll put a big spoiler warning on there.
They should have watched their film by now if they wanted.
It's not that old. It came out last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
last
but-
year, yeah.
That's
I
the
only
kind
watched
of
it
In
film.
fact,
Yeah.
yeah, because he marked the year anniversary with the announcement that he was going to do a sequel.
Yeah, so I mean, I only watched it fairly recently, just hadn't got around to watching it. I don't think the statute of limitations definitely is longer than a year.
I own the soundtrack on vinyl.
Do you just put Radar Love on loop?
Yeah.
That's the correct course of action.
I didn't realise
I like the
you
Harlem
had
Shake.
a
Vinyl player.
LP player.
Yeah.
You call me a hipster? You're buying LPs?
It's very true, actually. That is very
That is
true.
full on hipster
Ben buys a
behaviour.
lot of vinyl, and Ben is a blatant hipster.
Because what's better about vinyl?
Do you-
Oh,
I do
literally
feel
nothing.
You are a bit of a hipster over there.
The only reason you would need to buy
Tattoos,
vinyl.
beard, and vinyl. That
Wow. Wow.
is- yeah.
I'd love to defend.
Yeah, you can't even counter it, can you? There is no
There's a
counter.
lot of tattoos.
Why do you like
And
vinyl? Do you
beard.
think it just sounds better in spite of it being categorically worse?
No, it sounds like it's supposed to sound.
What, scratched and...
Yeah.
Alright, okay.
Yeah.
Oh really? That's what masters sound like, is it?
I'm pretty sure
Pretty sure the masters don't sound like
all of
that.
my perfectly clear, awesome tracks don't sound like that at all, to be honest. But, you know, that's
It's a
fine.
fault of going to a, but the masters will be perfect. But then why would you go to vinyl, which is an obvious downgrade? It's like saying tapes. Yeah, it's an imperfect transition. So
I'm sure there's lots of people who like imperfect things though.
Like hipsters.
It gives character, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hipsterism. It gives it hipsterism.
As I mentioned earlier today, the more you hate on hipsters, the more hipster you become.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think that is true. I'm not bothered. I'm just because I'm always called the hipster, so it's like, well,
Isn't it a symptom of hipsterdom? Hating other hipsters.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Interesting. So technically, then everyone's a hipster.
No, I just have no fixed feeling on it either way.
Okay.
I have no strong feeling one way or the other.
There you go.
either way, you're in the Baby Driver soundtrack, so that's still a good thing. However,
I own it digitally as well, so I have it on my phone right now. So
if I'd not seen it so recently, I would say it's a good movie night candidate. But I've watched it really, really recently, so.
It's the film I can watch again and again. I like car films.
Yeah.
That's true. You do indeed.
Does anyone have anything to add?
On Pain and Gain?
On Pain and Gain.
No, just a great film.
I feel like we've said it, yeah.
Does anybody have any candidates they'd like to add so that the followers, the many followers, can comment on what they'd maybe like to see us talk about?
Event Horizon's still up there.
Event
Horizon's a film I'm happy to watch it whenever because it's horrible things happening in space.
Yeah, Event Horizon is still a good one.
If you choose Event Horizon as your movie, I'd allow that.
You'd allow it, would you?
Yeah, your choice is under some strict scrutiny. There'll be a panel of judges before we.
I feel like I should throw something really fucking out there. So let's watch the Hidden Fortress. Or something.
This is why.
Yeah. Whenever recess.
I think we mentioned that last time.
In my head, it'll be. I can just imagine Sam just now. I think when he said was it like a J film or a K film? Are we gonna get
J-pop or K-pop?
Yeah. I don't want either.
I think you should throw it. I think it'd be like, let's watch it.
Are all foreign films out of running?
No, you can have whatever you want, Sam. I'll just have to stop.
At some point,
we've made yours Bad Boys, so it's.
You choose whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then we'll be to it and decide what we're going to watch.
Cool.
Oh, I'll happily watch it and then slate it after.
I already feel it's a 3 out of 5, whatever it is. 3 out of 5, I've forgotten it already.
I feel like I can already stand ready, I'll choose something, you'll slate it and I'll call you a pleb and then that'll be that.
I should have it again. You can watch him bit.
No, I'll give it a go, whatever you
Come
want.
on, Sam, you can pick whatever you want.
I'm not sure yet. Event Horizon is a good shout because I love Event Horizon, it's pure schlock. So it's a good movie night candidate.
It is. As
certainly more drinkable than Das Boot.
I feel like I should have to say I would not wish Das Boot on anyone.
Das Boot onto anyone.
If I hated you and wanted you to suffer,
I haven't watched it.
Well,
don't.
Save yourself an entire Sunday and you might get through it.
The only reason to watch Das Boot
Submarine.
is a submarine. Well, it is a submarine.
It's a war film.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Do we like war films?
I can take them or leave them.
One of my very favourite films is a war film.
I want
something.
that J.J. Abrams movie coming out.
That war zombie movie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Which war film is one of your favourites then?
It's not what you're gonna. It's Kelly's Heroes.
Oh yeah, it's a good film. It's classic.
Never seen it.
Yeah, classic film. It's good.
It's excellent.
I like all those old war films.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. The Guns of Navarone and A Bridge Too Far and all those exciting things. Yeah.
It's a good film.
Zulu.
Never seen Zulu.
Or Eagles Dare.
Never seen Zulu. The closest I've come to is you were making some jokes. You know what you're doing.
I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll pick something, completely horrible. So tune in next time.
Well, we can all look forward to that, can't we, viewers and listeners?
We can.
Right then, on that note, say goodbye to the people.
Laters viewers.
See you later.
Laters viewers.
I never know which to turn off first these days.
You never know.
You just walked past both of them, so.
I'll turn these off.
Click.
No, I don't I don't think I know how to turn these off these days, but I'll turn this
Still
off. Bye-bye! So there you go, what do you think of that? Moviecast, Pain and Gain, great movie. But, that's my opinion. What do you think of Pain and Gain? Have you seen it? Tell us by leaving a comment in our YouTube comment box for you YouTube watchers, or alternatively jump over to the Cookiecast and use one of our many social media outlets to give us a shout and tell us what you think. Stay tuned for more Moviecast in the future. There's still a few of us to have our movie picks, and also stay tuned for our upcoming Cookiecast competition, where one of you lucky listeners is going to win a prize. So yeah, things to look forward to in the future. But for now, I'm going to say bye-bye, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye!